The Snake Prince? Once upon a time, there lived by herself, in a city, an old woman who was desperately poor. One day, she found that she had only a handful of flour left in the house, and no money to buy more, nor hope of earning it. Carrying her little brass pot, very sadly, she made her way down to the river to bathe and to obtain some water. Thinking afterwards to come home and to make herself an unleavened cake of what flour she had left. And after that, she did not know what was to become of her. While she was bathing, she left her little brass pot on the riverbank covered with a cloth to keep the inside nice and clean. But when she came up out of the river and took the cloth off to fill the pot with water, she saw inside it the glittering folds of a deadly snake. At once she popped the cloth again into the mouth of the pot and held it there, and then she said to herself, "Ah, kind death, I will take thee home to my house, and there I will shake thee out of my pot, and thou shalt bite me, and I will die. And then all my troubles will be ended." With these sad thoughts in her mind, the poor old woman hurried home, holding her cloth carefully in the mouth of the pot. And when she got home, she shut all the doors and windows and took away the cloth and turned the pot upside down upon her hearthstone. What was her surprise to find that instead of the deadly snake, which she expected to see fall out of it, there fell out with a rattle and a clang a most magnificent necklace of flashing jewels. For a few minutes she could hardly think or speak, but stood staring, and then with trembling hands she picked the necklace up, and folding it in the corner of her veil, she hurried off to the king's hall of public audience. "A petition, O king," she said, "a petition for thy private ear alone." And when her prayer had been granted, and she found herself alone with the king, she shook out her veil at his feet, and there fell from it in glittering coils the splendid necklace. As soon as the king saw it, he was filled with amazement and delight, and the more he looked at it, the more he felt that he must possess it at once. So he gave the old woman 500 silver pieces for it, and put it straightway into his pocket. Away she went, full of happiness. For the money that the king had given her was enough to keep her for the rest of her life. As soon as he could leave his business, the king hurried off and showed his wife his prize, with which she was as pleased as he, if not more so. And, as soon as they had finished admiring the wonderful necklace, they locked it up in the great chest where the queen's jewelry was kept, the key of which hung always round the king's neck. A short while afterwards, a neighboring king sent a message to say that a most lovely girl baby had been born to him, and he invited his neighbors to come to a great feast in honor of the occasion. The queen told her husband that, of course, they must be present at the banquet, and she would wear the new necklace which he had given her. They had only a short time to prepare for the journey. And at the last moment, the king went to the jewel chest to take out the necklace for his wife to wear, but he could see no necklace at all. Only, in its place, a fat little boy baby crowing and shouting. The king was so astonished that he nearly fell backwards, but presently he found his voice and called for his wife so loudly that she came running, thinking that the necklace must at least have been stolen. "Look here! Look!" cried the king. "Haven't we always longed for a son? And now heaven has sent us one." "What do you mean?" cried the queen. "Are you mad?" "Mad? No, I hope not," shouted the king, dancing in excitement round the open chest. "Come here and look. Look what we've got instead of that necklace." Just then, the baby let out a great crow of joy, as though he would like to jump up and dance with the king. and the queen gave a cry of surprise and ran up and looked into the chest. "Oh!" she gasped as she looked at the baby. "What a darling! Where could he have come from?" "I'm sure I can't say," said the king. "All I know is that we locked up a necklace in the chest, and when I unlocked it just now, there was no necklace, but a baby, and as fine a baby as ever was seen." By this time, the queen had the baby in her arms. "Oh, the blessed one!" she cried. "Fairer ornament for the bosom of a queen than any necklace that ever was wrought. Write," she continued, "write to our neighbor and say that we cannot come to his feast, for we have a feast of our own, and a baby own." Oh, happy day! So the visit was given up, and in honor of the new baby, the bells of the city, and its guns, and its trumpets, and its people, small and great, had hardly any rest for a week. There was such a ringing, and banging, and blaring, and such fireworks, and feasting, and rejoicing, and merrymaking as had never been seen before. A few years went by, and as the king's boy baby and his neighbor's girl baby grew and throve, the two kings arranged that as soon as they were old enough, they should marry. As soon as the prince and princess were 18 years of age, the kings agreed that it was time for the wedding, and the young prince journeyed away to the neighboring kingdom for his bride, and was there married to her with great and renewed rejoicings. Now, I must tell you that the old woman who had sold the king the necklace had been called in by him to be the nurse of the young prince. And although she loved her charge dearly and was a most faithful servant, she could not help talking just a little. And so, by and by, it began to be rumored that there was some magic about the young prince's birth. And the rumor, of course, had come in due time to the ears of the parents of the princess. So now that she was going to be the wife of the prince, her mother, who was curious, as many other people are, said to her daughter on the eve of the ceremony, "Remember that the first thing you must do is to find out what this story is about the prince. And in order to do it, you must not speak a word to him, whatever he says, until he asks you why you are silent. Then you must ask him what the truth is about his magic birth. And until he tells you, you must not speak to him again." And the princess promised that she would follow her mother's advice. Therefore, when they were married and the prince spoke to his bride, she did not answer him. He could not think what was the matter, but even about her old home, she would not utter a word. At last, he asked why she would not speak, and then she said, "Tell me the secret of your birth." Then the prince was very sad and displeased, and although she pressed him sorely, he would not tell her, but always reply, "If I tell you, you will repent that ever you asked me." For several months they lived together, and it was not such a happy time for either as it ought to have been, for the secret was still a secret, and lay between them like a cloud between the sun and the earth, making what should be fair, dull, and sad. At length the prince could bear it no longer. So he said to his wife one day, "At midnight I will tell you my secret if you still wish it, but you will repent it all your life." However, the princess was overjoyed that she had succeeded and paid no attention to his warnings. That night the prince ordered horses to be ready for the princess and himself a little before midnight. He placed her on one and mounted the other himself, and they rode together down to the river to the place where the old woman had first found the snake in her brass pot. There the prince drew rein and said sadly, "Do you still insist that I should tell you my secret?" And the princess answered, "Yes." "If I do," answered the prince, "remember that you will regret it all your life." But the princess only replied, tell me." "Then," said the prince, "know that I am the son of the king of a far country, but by enchantment I was turned into a snake." The word snake was hardly out of his lips when he disappeared, and the princess heard a rustle and saw a ripple on the water, and in the faint moonlight she beheld a snake swimming into the river. Soon it disappeared, and she was left alone. In vain, she waited with beating heart for something to happen, and for the prince to come back to her. Nothing happened, and no one came. Only the wind mourned through the trees on the riverbank, and the night birds cried, and a jackal howled in the distance, and the river flowed black and silent beneath her. In the morning they found her, weeping and disheveled, on the riverbank. But no word could they learn from her or from anyone as to the fate of her husband. At her wish they built on the riverbank a little house of black stone, and there she lived in